So we have a question on simplifying after using the quotient rule. And specifically, if I get down to this quantity of x squared plus 10 over x squared, can I simplify this, or how far should I simplify it? So the instinct is to want to cancel out x squared and just be left with 10. Now that is not correct. We cannot do that. Although it is a very, very common thing that I've seen many students do over the last few years. So the problem with this is when you have x squared plus 10 over x squared, you have to divide each term by x squared. I can't just divide x squared by x squared. I have to divide the x squared and the 10. So if you really wanted to try and simplify this, you would have to do x squared over x squared plus 10 over x squared. You have to make sure you divide each term in the numerator by the denominator. And so you could simplify this, and this would be 1 plus 10 over x squared. That doesn't really look like it's any simpler than what we started with, and we probably wouldn't actually do that. So again, if you're looking at this, you have to divide each term by the x squared. If you wanted to try and split it up, you probably don't. You'll probably just leave it like this. Now the question is, why couldn't we just do it the way we wanted to instinctively? So let's just pretend that x equals, pick any number, let's say 3. And let's see what would happen. So then if x squared plus 10 over x squared would equal 3 squared plus 10 over 3 squared, or 9 plus 10, or 19, 3 squared, 19 over 9. And just to make it easier to compare, let's do 19 over 9 in our calculator to figure out that this is 2.111. Okay. Now this is the correct answer. Sorry about that. This is the correct answer, which we know because we're following our normal order of operations. That's what we would instinctively do. We think that should be correct. Now what if you did x squared plus 10 over x squared, and you cancel the x squareds first, you would just get 10. Notice this is incorrect. It is not the same answer. So there's your proof that it doesn't work to do it that way. We should not do it that way. Instead, we can only simplify quotients if we can divide each term in the numerator by the denominator. So we'd have to do x squared over x squared and 10 over x squared. Now, with that being said, let's look at some examples of where we could simplify a little bit more. What if I had something like this? If I had this problem, I could divide both terms by x. So I could do 5x over x plus 10x squared over x. Notice again, I'm dividing each term by x. And this would then simplify to 5 plus 10x. Similarly, you might normally see this problem done this way, where you have 5x plus 10x squared over x. And I could pull out an x on the top, so it would be x times 5 plus 10x over x. Now multiplication and addition are separate. In this situation where I have x times this entire quantity, I can cancel the x's. That's okay to cancel the x's because I'm canceling it for multiplication and not addition. Notice the reason it's okay is because either way I get the same answer. So let's make up one more problem for ourselves just to see if we understand it. So if I have 3 minus 5x over x, can I simplify this? I could try to, but I would have to do 3 over x minus 5x over x. Or I'd get 3 over x minus 5. You could simplify it this way. You probably wouldn't bother to because the end result isn't much simpler, but you could. And one more practice problem. Let's do 7x times the quantity x minus 5 all over x. Okay. Notice, again, this is a multiplication, so this x and this x we can cancel and we'll get 7 times x minus 5.